What up, y'all? Assassin's Creed Mirage is my first full Assassin's Creed experience. I know a lot of you, the Ubisoft game design is very stale and done to death, but coming from a newcomer to the series, I do have to say there's a lot here to really appreciate. Now, my first exposure to the series around E3 2006, I believe. Now, if you remember, you were gaming during the early days of that generation. When it was first unveiled, Ubisoft's game design was very groundbreaking, and a lot of aspects of the original game hadn't been done or seen before in gaming when it comes to interacting with environments, open settings, things like that. I remember the hype from the whole gaming community around the idea of sneaking around, assassinating people close range and at a distance, staying in the place where the adventure would take place. Now I understand larger games and traversing environments and open adventure games are a large mainstay now in gaming, especially with Assassin's Creed being such a large and profitable franchise. But Ubisoft game design, whether you like it or not, their influence in modern gaming is really undeniable. Successful game franchises like Uncharted, the prototype game, Batman Arkham games, even modern blockbusters like Breath of the Wild, Spider-Man, they've undoubtedly had some influence from Ubisoft's game design. This is not bad at all. I did have some very scarce experiences actually playing the first two games when they came out, as I didn't have an Xbox 360 during that generation, but I have some friends that really liked the games, and one of my best friends informed me that the last two games, Odyssey and Valhalla, they've kind of moved more away from the assassinating aspect, that more went for like a third-person action adventure, diving into that aspect of it. And apparently Mirage is kind of a back-to-the-basic approach to the series. With this being my first full Assassin's Creed experience, I can definitely see why the series has been such a mainstay and as successful as it has. The story takes place in Baghdad, and you're playing as a street thief, Basim, and he joins the Hidden Ones after his village is killed off by the followers of the Khalifa while they are on a job trying to impress the Hidden Ones. After this, he is mentored by the Hidden One leader, Roshan, and after some time of his training, they attempt to fight for liberty against the Order of Ancients in Baghdad. As a lot of you are probably pretty familiar with gameplay style of this series, it is very fluid and works very well, and you can pretty much interact and climb on most of everything in the environment. For the most part, you can walk around and run around Baghdad freely. Since the game is really focused on assassinating, you will be detected pretty easily by guards around the countryside. You have a few ways to detect enemies and object points by your eagle eye or the ability to sense where the objectives and enemies are. It really feels good executing kills by luring enemies, assassinating from above, or using knives to assassinate enemies from far distances. There are a lot of gear sets you can collect, upgrade you can make with different items. As a new player to the series, I wouldn't say this game is particularly difficult, but because you really have to be tactful on how you traverse and kill enemies, if you don't tread correctly, you are liable to alert a single guard to rally a bunch of enemies to fight you. And at times, I found myself overwhelmed by enemies and getting killed. It was never unfair, and it was always at my own mess ups. This aspect of the game was extremely fun, really kept me engaged, and made me want to figure out what I did wrong, and which ways of the many ways I can interact to move forward. This aspect alone made me really keep coming back to the game and wanted to keep playing more. Now, I have no way of comparing this game to any of the others in the series. This game is extremely fun, has a very engaging story, engaging characters, and a more small scale and surprisingly intimate story. And it does, to me from what I can tell, really feels like what I imagined a game would feel like. A more stripped down, back to basic approach to the series, and if this is what I can expect from this series going forward, then I really feel like the Assassin's Creed series is going to be a series for me that I would really like to sink my teeth into and become a lifelong fan of. This has been what Assassin's Creed NOOB. What up, Mang? Thanks of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Have you guys played it yet? What did you think of it? Are you burned out of Assassin's Creed? Which games in the series do you prefer? Please comment any Assassin's Creed games you think I would like that are similar to this one. I truly appreciate it if you hit that like button for me, help me out in the algorithm, consider subscribing, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.